Previously on Miss President.
As a Kenyan, the inequalities in Nyandarua and other counties, people are dying of diabetes and obesity. In Turkana, Marsabit, people are dying of starvation, hunger.
So when we talk about food security around the world, it just makes better sense to empower women. So when we do this, when you see Canada supporting this, this is not just a nice thing to do. We're changing the world.
It has come out that both of you are very assertive. I want the whole academy to understand that being assertive is a very good attribute for a leader.
Is Kenya ready for a female president? Kenya iko tayari kuwa na rais wa kike. If you don't understand Swa and want it in Kimbeteng, Kimbetenya iko tayari kuwa na rambatais wa Kimbeteke. Nilijaribu. Our topic for today is public policy, and we always ask our government as citizens, what have you done for me lately? Ooh, yeah. In the coming episodes, the contestants will undergo training, will be given tasks, various challenges and problem-solving activities. They will respond through presentations before judges Zippy, Jerry, and Michael. Eliminations are expected in every episode, but we leave this to the judges' discretion. Those who impress will remain. However, there will be only one Miss President.
Over 700 applications were received from all over Kenya, and from these, 350 contestants were shortlisted. After a series of auditions, over 50 women were selected, and they will now battle it out at the academy for the coveted title of Miss President.
I am leaving the academy. Sadly, I had to pick to choose between two options which were of equal weight, very heavy. And I had to ask for advice from various people, including my mom. And a lot of that advice was, if you go to Sierra Leone, I think you'd make a very good decision. So I'm going to Sierra Leone to represent young people, young women, and young persons with disabilities in the 10th African Conference on Sexual Health Rights.
In the race to be elected Miss President, we have the following contestants. Dr. Katindi Sivi is among Africa's top 6 female futurists according to Ross Dawson's ranking. She is the founder of Kenya's premier strategic foresight organizations, Longview Consult and Longview Futures Foundation, that facilitate futures research, policy analysis, foresight strategies, and trainings. She is also the principal trainer at the Africa Foresight Lab, which is set up to foster foresight literacy among Africa's professionals and young people. Dr. Sivi has a PhD in strategic foresight from Regent University, an MSc in Organizational Development, and a BA in International Relations, both from United States International University, USIU Nairobi campus. She also has scenarios building training from Oxford University, Said Business School. She is a member of the Association of Professional Futurists, Collaborative Futures, and the Millennium Project. Here is a summary of the topic for this week's episode.
All right, so how many of you remember the public policy lesson? You do remember? Okay, so today we are going to actually apply the lessons that we learned. So the question I'm going to be asking us to work on is period poverty. How many of us have heard of the period poverty? Yes. If you remember, it is defined as a lack of access to menstrual products, hygiene facilities, waste management, and education. It is an issue that has caused extreme physical, mental, emotional challenges among girls and women. And so I want you to identify the deep-seated issues that keeps the problem from completely getting resolved. The second one is that as the incoming president, all right, you have taken over. This is August 2022. You've taken over a highly indebted country, meaning that there will be scarce resources for you to keep allocating this $3 million for sanitary towels. Number two, you have members of parliament who do not prioritize these issues. So how do you effectively implement the law under these circumstances? And then the third question is, how do you ensure 100% access of period products of all school-going children is sustained beyond your terms in office?
The contestants will be divided into groups as leadership does not work in a vacuum. While working within these groups, the contestants will be tested on their ability to lead or work as a team. The contestants have been reshuffled, chosen the group president, and have now settled into their new groups.
So it is the 3 points that we now need to give group one, that out of what you have mentioned, these are the 3 key ones.
Said, we were reporting going to give good facilities. All the points we've given you. If we're talking about the financial list, can we just have you run through the points under the financial list and then we get done with that?
We have identified. Remember the dashboard we talked about, the reproductive health dashboard. That will be a solution to your challenge.
So what maybe we can do to answer the question?
My name is Dr. Zipi Okoth. I am a lecturer at KCA University, a gender consultant, an award-winning filmmaker, and founding director of the Lake International Pan-African Film Festival. I will be looking for someone who is informed, bold, visionary, and has a unique leadership predisposition.
Hi, my name is Jerry Kirene. I am a policy advisor and researcher and an advocate for women's advancement. I am looking for courage, determination, and excellence. I will be kind but firm, as I feel at the Academy there is no room for mediocrity.
My name is Michael Nyango. I am the founder and lead at the Agenda Center for Kenya's largest and most trusted social media platform, WhatsApp. The Forgotten Bottom Millions, 4BM, a social media enterprise currently reaching over 500,000 persons every week via WhatsApp and transforming the lives of thousands of Kenyans. I will be looking for audacious, bold, and daring leaders.
Akina mama na wadada usaidizi tunahitaji sasa. Akina mama na wadada usaidizi tunahitaji sasa.
Can you imagine the cost of sanitary towels in Kenya is about Kenya shillings to 70 per 7 pads? Can you start to imagine that 10% of 15-year-old girls are actually exchanging sex for pads?
One of the things that makes it very difficult to address this challenge is the issue of our social cultural beliefs and our preferences. Many young girls would opt not to use tampons. They would opt not to use menstrual cups because they believe that when they use the cups, it will interfere and break their hymen and therefore not get the right husband. We also know that there are women who would keep away from using pads because it's not an issue. It is not a budgetary item. Finally, why distribute reusable pads when there is no water in schools?
Mabibi na mabwana, karibu kwenye sherehe za mashujaa. Siku ya leo, mimi kama naibu wa rais, naenda kuhakikishia kwamba zile sera ambazo rais wetu Bi Nuru Mohamed anaenda kuziweka kwamba tutazitekeleza na tutafanya kazi na mawizara ambazo zitakazotajwa ili kuhakikisha kwamba tumetekeleza janga hili la period poverty. Asanteni sana.
Today, as the head of state, I want to declare period poverty a national disaster. This is the following actions that are supposed to take place. One, we are going to have a bill, and this bill is going to allocate menstrual health finances to be allocated under the CDF fund. I want to appreciate the innovation and technology sector for establishing the Mwanadada Pad Bank. This is going to be encouraged and make sure that all academic institutions under the Ministry of Education have the Mwanadada Pad Bank. We're also going to improve our wash facilities. Ministry of Water, make sure there is no academic institution that has no water.
Welcome to this session today. It's a cabinet secretary meeting, and we are here today to deliberate on matters menstrual hygiene. And as a cabinet, we need to create a way forward on this issue. Cabinet secretary in charge of health, kindly proceed.
In Kenya now, as we speak, 65% of women go through menstrual poverty, and this is not enough. Under my ministry, we did some research all over the country, and we have very high corruption.
So our recommendation as a working group with my minister, my colleague here, the Ministry of in the Ministry of Health, is one, around the finances, can we have a bi-governmental working approach between the county government and the national government? When the approach is devolved, we reach more people appropriately. Economically, we should work on economic empowerment of the women. We should make sure that the poor households have a way of generating income so that they can prioritize buying of sanitary pads when it comes to it. See, things like seed funding, that should be set aside. Okay, and then we're also suggesting that we set local factories to manufacture reusable sanitary towels in areas where there is water. But in areas where our sister here told us there is no water, there is, according to Article 204, Part 2, there is the Equalization Fund that seeks to give basic services like water, health. That should be pushed in this government so it is attained and the marginalized area have facilities just like other areas. Let's look at public-private partnership. This company called Genesis is making dispensers for sanitary towels. Why don't we bring them on board so that the dispensers can go to schools? And whether the girls are feeling ashamed of picking the sanitary towels, they can find it in the toilet and no one will know whether I'm menstruating at 12 years or I'm menstruating at 23 years. Apart from building synergies with existing administration like the chief, the community health workers are a vital organ, but this time let's collect data on the critical households that need extra support so that our support is very intentional.
Period poverty is one of the things that we are looking from the angle of cultural beliefs. Meaning we are having issues of people not believing that this is a natural process. Some communities believe this is a curse. Some people think period is that. So we have these people having that notion and avoiding this topic. Some of us are in communities in the remote areas where a shop is not even close to us. So should I walk leaking to go and get that pad? Is the pad you're using biodegradable, environmental friendly? No. So now that's the problem we're having. The design is not even accommodative of the intersex and the PWDs. Do they have the same pads that are affordable for them and actually are accommodating them?
The next order of business is to add a mandate to the National Gender and Equality Commission, change it to the Gender and Menstrual Response Commission, so that we add the mandate of monitoring the menstrual health strategies and rollout of sanitary towels across the country. Currently, they do not have that mandate. And because of the duplication in the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Gender, then we need a central place where we can track and monitor our progress. There's stopping the leaks, because that's corruption. When you look at the Penal Code and the Economic Crimes Act, those two are overlapping and they really compete against each other. So harmonizing this and using a tribunal to track procurement processes that are not properly managed or where there's mismanagement, that would be an aspect I would look into as a president.
And what are we doing to make sure that this girl gets the sanitary towels in the schools? Number one, we have Hedhi Yangu campaign. That is my period, my pride or my dignity. This is where we are creating awareness to all. We are not hiding it. We are killing the male chauvinism that comes with menstruation. We are integrating in the menstruation health in family planning, because you realize there are some girls who trade sex for sanitary towels. So if we are not taking care of the girls who are giving birth when they are home and they are going to become pregnant again, and then the policies that we have are making sure we can use alternative sorts of sanitary towels. What are alternatives that we have? We have the biodegradable ones that can be made by our locals. So if we encourage our local people, they will also encourage the students to make their own pads, and they will make sure that they are accessible to all. Thank you.
For the assignment, the contestants will be judged on their understanding of the task, time management and presentation, creativity and innovation of the solutions provided, and lastly, leadership and group dynamics. Each contestant must write 2 names of who they think should leave the academy and the reason why they should go. The contestants will also give 2 names of who should stay in the academy and why they should stay in the academy.
Once again, we are in the judges' corner. We have with us an expert on public policy. Daktari, please tell us about today's assignment and what your observations are.
We did state very clearly that the government or the public policy space has already started thinking about solutions. I think what we wanted to test is, because the solutions are not effective, what other solutions would they have that would completely eliminate the problem? The other thing was, to eradicate this 100%, we need to think about household solutions. What can households do to the lowest level, to the most poor households? What materials can they have access to be able to actually make this for themselves? And the last one was using judiciary as a mechanism to enforce some of these laws. So I thought those would be good starting points to begin to look at how sustainable can the solutions be.
Because now we're getting into the 6th week, and the tougher it gets, I'm going to be very particular about the things that I'm looking out for so that they actually resonate with what's on the ground, so that then the person that finally ends up becoming Mr. President really has a hands-on grip on what the current situation is, and so as to how we can better do things going forward. Policy is sensitive, as you said, and I heard too much emphasis of government being in business.
Yes.
The only government that can be in business successfully is China, and we know why, you know? So the rest of us, we can't. So I think reality is now kicking in. On my side, I'm going to be very, very particular at what I'm looking for and what I'm looking to.
I think I like the presentations today. They are very specific, and we could see a lot of the personal touch and personal information being brought about. And for me, I like that because it means that people are thinking out of the box. When we look at especially the sociocultural issues, I like when the issue of patriarchy was brought out strongly, because we are a very patriarchal society. Even the issue of us not discussing about menstruation, it's because the men should not hear. You know, when we talk about it as a poverty, menstruation poverty, I am not even looking at it like this is the issue of pads. It's the fact that we are so poor mentally in it, in the knowledge, so that we see it as death. Like if there's anything that a girl would do to stop periods, they will do it. And you remember when you were younger, there were those books of the truck driver telling a girl, I will help you stop your periods. I will do for you something. And the periods will stop.
Exactly.
This issue has been around for a long time. But just looking at it from a policy perspective, understanding the issues first, like the fact that people don't want to talk about it, girls are sitting on holes through their menstruation, and that kind of thing. Not being able to put the pieces together of how this thing affects girls is, I think, one of the reasons why we've not been able to deal with it. But even just looking at what these ladies are doing, they've started identifying even taglines, very nice taglines, things that we can use to begin a campaign. And I sincerely hope that from this particular program, this becomes a national issue, like we are saying, a national disaster, and it should start here.
Moving forward, I think I should work on my stage fright. Sometimes it really gets the best of me. The only thing that I need to change is maybe, to be a little bit more prepared, especially when I'm supposed to do a speech in Kiswahili that I'm not used to so much.
I think Miss President has really selected very great leaders and very smart leaders if this pool goes out to do what they've been taught to do, we'll have a great change in our communities.
That sometimes we'll be faced with choices and you have to make decisions. So that's what it's imparting to us, but the process that it's taking us through is quite difficult. You look at in the group, maybe you're 6 people, you have to write to, those like 3 remain, and you look. For me, that has been the greatest challenge, and also now being in that elimination process, waiting for the judges to make your conclusion. As they say, you never know until you really know.
For the assignment, the contestants will be judged on their understanding of the task, time management and presentation, creativity and innovation of the solutions provided, and lastly, leadership and group dynamics.
The presentations were very beautiful and precise, but because we have the trainer here, I would like to give an opportunity to tell you more about that.
The main comments, I'll start with the first group that started. You did identify the solutions, and one of the remarkable things about the second group is that they declared the issue a national disaster, and so gave it the highest prioritization. I think the second big issue for me was the fact that they gave solutions to all the problems they identified. However, I think they took a lot of time to rehash the problems and did not really give adequate as much time to allocate solutions. The other thing is that they also gave many more top solutions, government this, government that, and very little, bottom or very practical solutions at the household level or at the individual level. If I go to group 1, I think one of the things that I noted critically was the fact that you gave very good devolved solutions. For example, the very practical solution of community health workers. Then I loved the innovative idea of using apps, particularly because the most affected group with this issue is young people. And then I really loved the idea of normalizing the conversation of this menstrual health issues with both genders and in communities, and so those were remarkable. You also gave practical and local solutions like manufacturing, etc. What was, for me, something to probably that should have been thought a little more was this whole question about the solution that governments need to work together. Whereas it's a valid one, one of the things that was important for us is, remember, we talked about the issue of political will. And there wasn't a tangible solution of how, even if governments are going to work together, how do you deal with the problem of political will? To the third group, what I loved about the solutions that you gave is that you actually spend much more time giving solutions than rehashing the problem. And so that was really good. You gave very innovative ideas. For me, the issue of biodegradable was remarkable. The issue of biometric identification was really remarkable. The issue of course, harmonizing the ministries and housing it at an existing focal point like the National Gender Commission, that was remarkable as well. The inclusive ideas of intersex and PWDs, that was remarkable. Funding through existing devolved funds. That was a point, but it also was not a plus in the sense that the assignment did clearly state that government is indebted and has, and therefore there will not be many resources. And so you didn't tell us how that was going to be handled, all right, even if you were devolving the resources. I really, really commend you for expanding this issue of menstrual health and combining it with mental health issues, because I think there's a twin problem there that is about to really blow up, and I think I commend you for that. And then, of course, the working with the judiciary to really affirm the issues and legislate around that, as well as working with other bodies like GEC. So, however, I will say that your presentation was not innovative. You had a PowerPoint presentation that had typos, and like I said earlier, the funding issue that you were saying will be increased, yet we were saying that that wasn't practical, I think needed to be worked on.
Thank you very much, Dr. Katindi. Now to Honorable Michael Onyango.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zippy Okoth. So I keep saying this, and I'll repeat it week after week. The way I personally judge any assignment that you're given is I look at the question and I see whether or not you've answered the question. Anything that you add that is extra to that, I discard it. I don't even look at it. So without a doubt, we have come from far, and the level has gone up, but we still have quite a long way to go so that we're actually meeting the bar that we had set. Why do I say that? It's extremely important that if you're not involving us men within this conversation, you're not getting anywhere. And I hardly saw that coming out. I couldn't see anything that I could relate with, that fellow men like me could also relate with within your presentations. That just did not come out at all. I didn't see where we sit, what you want us to do, what you want us to know. You were so engrossed in yourselves that you totally forgot that we exist. But nonetheless, the other thing that I also didn't see is that you didn't emphasize enough to the parliament which has just gone out, and justifiably, that the women, the 47 women who are elected for the last 5 years, did nothing on this. And then also, the 84 youthful members of parliament did nothing on the issue. So did they do nothing because they did not know, or did they do nothing because they were not able to get together? One of the things I also noticed is that none of you mentioned anything about the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Nobody mentioned about the 260 million which had been allocated. None of you mentioned that, which means that you didn't do your homework properly. You just rushed into what you thought you needed us to know. However, Group 1, oh wow, I loved the fact that you did understand the assignment, which said specifically that we were in a scarcity and we needed to find ideas of how to fill the scarcity. I love the fact that you said that you could apply for external grants, because as a sitting government, when you're in power, you are able actually to convene other people to the table and put out your needs, and they're able to react to the things that you want if they feel that they also meet the things that they fight for. Ladies, I said before, we're training to be global leaders. Your peers are other presidents from across the globe. So that is the insight that I look at whenever I am grading anything that you're doing.
On that note, I'd like to go to Judge Njeri.
Thank you, Dr. Zippy. Generally, I liked the presentations. I also liked the solutions, because these solutions are actually practical. In fact, I was listening to you and saying, I wish that our policymakers would be sitting here. Group 2, like Dr. Katindi rightly pointed out, we spend a lot of time hashing on the facts that we already know. But you also came and looked at the various options that are out there, the menstrual cup. You also talked about reusable pads. And then now you come with your idea of the pad bank. Now, when you talked about these two, you're almost like dismissing them. Like the social cultural issues of the menstrual cup, people tend to think it's going to break their hymen. Then he said, why are you sending your reusable pads to places with no water? It doesn't mean that those solutions don't work. I can tell you, I personally have experience using reusable pads, and they work. What we need to do, as we advocate, we say, let's identify the reusable pad that can be certified by KEBS, and then we push for 0 rating, okay? So that we can make it more available to other people, because there are people who can afford that. Then we look at other solutions also that can be used in the households. Just continue to see how you can improve on what is already there, besides coming up with innovative solutions. But I'd like to say again, well done.
Now, let's start with group 1. Kindly come forward. It's very clear that the competition is getting very difficult for some of you, and also fairly easy for some of you. And sometimes it's not even about the task at hand. Sometimes it's an issue of group dynamics, knowing how to work with people, teamwork, knowing how to tolerate others, and knowing how to evaluate your own temperament in comparison to other people's temperament. The 2 to step forward, Pascaline Njau, Esperanza Jean. Pascaline, you're a very good team player. You really contribute a lot to the group, but at times it comes out that you're not very cooperative. And you choose which people to listen to and which people not to listen to. That is not very good for a leader. You have to give everyone a fair chance, whether their contribution is as small as 2 or maybe too negligible for you to notice. Give them a chance, because maybe on that day their solution is what will work. Esperanza Jean, you need to come out more. I think it is very important for you in the academy, everyone here, to understand that being assertive is not something bad. Being assertive is good. What you need to do is to learn to balance how it affects the other team members. It has been very difficult for the judges to decide who to go home amongst the 2 of you, because we have felt your energy in the previous teams that you were in. We have felt your energy in the team today and even in the previous teams that you were in. And we felt that you are very strong contestants. And despite looking at the group dynamics and your individual strengths and nominating you to be here, we think you should both stay. You can go and sit. Okay. Now we go to group 2. Kindly come forward. Group 2, you have proven to be very active, and it's such a beautiful composition that even with the new restructuring, we feel that many of you are very strong contestants. And for that, I would like to say congratulations. However, someone has to go home. And I'd like to call the following to come forward. Vivian Omariba, Madina Eunice Mahat. Ladies, your group is very strong. However, we feel that in a very strong group, sometimes people might get intimidated with sharing their own opinions, and they might want to always ask and consult and say, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? When it comes to critical decisions, as a leader, you need to make that bold step and make those critical decisions. And for that reason, Madina Eunice Mahat, we will let you go home. Vivian Omariba, you can go back to the academy.
Thank you for the time. I learned a lot. I networked, and I appreciate that. I wish you all the best, ladies. It was a great time spending with you all, and I look forward to watching your journeys as well. Thank you.
Last but not least, I'd like to invite Group 3 to come forward.
Like I have said before, it is important that you understand that there's group dynamics and there's the individual effort. You're here as an individual, but you're also part of a group. And when we talk about that, the group dynamics really play a big role, just like your own character and your own personality plays a big role in making that group successful. I'd like to call the two to come forward. Isha Mohammed, Nasim Jahangir. Isha Mohammed and Nasim Jahangir, when you are at this level of the competition, it is important that your voices be heard and be felt. We need you to learn to work under pressure. All leaders work under pressure, and there's no time for backing down. Every time you have to be on your toes, intellectually, physically, mentally, in every way. And we feel that this week you relaxed. And so, Esha Mohammed, you will go home. This is the end of your journey, but it is not the end of your journey to leadership. It is the end of your journey in the Miss President Academy. Nasim Jahangir, you are also going home. But we want to keep hearing more news about what you're doing in your community, in your organization, and even as a person, it will be beautiful for us to see the growth that comes out of you beyond the Miss President show.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Media Focus and the judges and my fellow colleagues, Miss President. And I can proudly say I have an organization back in Kilifi that has distributed over 6,000 dignity kits that relates to this topic today, and they're receiving it for 3 months supply. We have Global Fund grant that works on reducing HIV infection in Kenya and also reduce mortality that are related to HIV. I also have police advocacy. As I said, we support technically the county to do police advocacy. So if you go on our website, www.connecttoretain.co.ke, all social media, we're very active. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It has been a journey. I am grateful. I have learned, I have unlearned, and I've also relearned through this process. Back at home, I also have my own organization. It's called Her Narrative. And one of the campaigns that we're doing is the Hedhi Yangu that we just launched. And we're looking at how we can not only create awareness on SRHR, but also see how we can mainstream boys and into such talks. This has been a good process. I have learned from all of you, and I also hope that you've learned from me. Till then, inshallah. Thank you.
All right, ladies, what has to happen has to happen. Congratulations that you're still going to the next stage of this competition, and we hope you are going to up your game. Right now, it's about wit. What is your unique leadership predisposition? Anyway, I'd like to call the following forward. Kawira Muchunku, Ashura Michael, Annabelle Njoki. Ladies, if I was to ask you, why do you think you are worth being in the Miss President Academy?
I think that I am worth, not even I think, I am worth being in the Miss President Academy because of my leadership skills. Currently, I'm doing my doctorate in computer science. So I want to be that girl. When people see that small body, you're like, this is my inspiration. I want to be like her. Yes, and to represent a community of women who are rising beyond and breaking the glass ceiling. Yes.
I'm a leader who believes in the capacity of each one of us. And remember, a leader without believing your neighbor, then you're not a leader. Number two, I believe I have a reason to be here to inspire others to become leaders so that the society can know we can also make it. Thank you.
I would say that I qualify to be Miss President because I do not only tell women to, fight for their space and fight for these positions, but I am also walking the talk. Now, for the weeks that we've been here, I have been elected president of 2 separate groups, and for 3 weeks running, led both groups to be the best groups here. If that is not a show of my capacity, then I do not know what it is. And in addition to that, I was able to steer those groups because I understand that as a leader, I do not only bear the burden of my dreams and my ambitions, that I also bear the burden and the dreams and ambitions of the people that I am leading. And for that reason, I believe that I deserve to be in this academy, and I believe that I qualify to be Miss President.
Thank you. Okay, ladies, those are very good, beautiful points. And we are indeed proud to have you in the academy. Today we asked the academy who they would prefer to stay, and the 3 of you were top. And even from your stories as the judges, we look at you, the way you have been interacting, Kawira. Please, can you present here the way you spoke in the last episode when I asked you, why should you stay in the house? You spoke very confidently. Today I ask you, why are you worth being in front of Miss President? I mean, you spoke confidently again. What happens when you come here to do presentations? Believe the words that you've just spoken today about yourself. Believe them. Ashura, you have a very beautiful and warm heart. And you really help people in their problems in a gentle way. And even as a leader, most of the groups that you've worked with feel that you're very firm, but you're still also very understanding. And we believe those are very good attributes in leadership. So if that is what has kept you in the academy this far, continue.
Thank you so much.
Annabelle, you have beaten the record of being chosen how many times as president of your teams? 2 times. And also those 2 times your group became the strongest groups. So you have become the common factor in the strongest group in the past episodes. And that is not something that we can overlook. Today, you are part of a group that no one has gotten eliminated, and that should tell you something. So 3 ladies, the 3 of you, we want to say congratulations. Whatever it is that you're doing, we hope it keeps you in the academy longer. To the ladies in the academy, I have told them I hope it keeps them in the academy because the competition is where? Here. Ladies, you all have the power to become the next female Miss President.
As today's battle comes to an end, here is a quick reminder of who has left the academy and who is still in the competition.
The judges said that I'm less assertive and laid back. It's a trick I was using from Sun Tzu's Art of War, that appear weak when you're strong. So I'm going to come out as bold and more assertive, just to affirm my presence in the competition and the presence of the women of Kisumu that I represent in this competition.
It's not easy. It's not easy to be the one to go home. It will never be easy for anyone. Even I think the person who is going to be number 2 will find it most difficult because it's just very close, yeah? So I remind them, I'd like to encourage them that it's okay to feel bad. That is 1. 2, everything has a reason. God can never let us be just like that. And I believe in the God that I serve. We shall meet again in these areas. It's not the last time.
This process is supposed to make us better, so we allow comments as they come, we listen. Sometimes as a leader, until someone points out something, you don't exactly realize that you probably have a weakness in a certain area. So I'm happy to be part of the process, to listen, and I'm happy to improve moving forward.
As this group of women continues on the long and grueling journey that will demand their very best, we can only cheer and urge them to put their best foot forward. I challenge you now with this quote from Michelle Obama, former First Lady of the United States. Success isn't about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. As a leader, when it comes to policy, it's not only about you. It's about you, me, and all of us. Thoughts, opinions, compliments, suggestions, tweet us on @media_focus. Find us on Facebook @MFA Media Focus on Africa. Check us out on Instagram @Media Focus on Africa. This show will be uploaded to YouTube. To view this episode and other episodes, including the full training session, kindly click on the link provided to access the Miss President's YouTube channel. And remember to click, like, and subscribe to the only show where you never really know until you know.